If you have clicked on this video, it is because you want to know what you have to do to run a sub 20-minute 5K. However, that's probably only relevant if you're actually at about 21, 22, maybe 23 minutes right now. But it doesn't mean that you can't watch this video and take something to make you faster wherever you are, whether you run a 5K in 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, it's irrelevant. These tips will make you faster because we did it, we implemented it with Mary. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is I'm going to break down what we did with Mary in terms of her training, as in the particular sessions that I gave her over the last few weeks. We're going to talk about the differences, the changes that we made from the last time she attempted this to now. So we're talking about location and kit choice and weather choice, although you can't choose the weather, but you'll understand what I'm saying. And we're also going to talk about how I trained her mindset during the sessions and how she approached it mindset-wise on the day. I am going to break that all down for you today.
Hang on a minute. I'm the one that ran this 5K. I think I should explain how I did it.
Okay. Good acting, Mary, but a good idea. I think you should take them out on a run with you.
Come on then.
Boom! So, sub 20-minute 5K. I still can't quite believe it, but do you know what? Bit of a reality check. I'm still just the same person. I've watched that video back from the track and I'm like, I look so slow and kind of, I don't know, I had in my head that if I was a sub 20-minute 5K'er, I'd look absolutely fierce and graceful and smooth, but still me. It felt exactly the same as when I got my last 5K PB almost 2 years ago. Just ran it faster, which is awesome because it was a huge goal of mine, absolutely huge, and I'm chuffed to bits, but just came together on that day. But first I just wanted to explain kind of how I got there and how it feels. So yeah, mind blown, but flipping good. My last PB 2038 was set almost 2 years ago at a park run, and when I got that I was absolutely over the moon. That was like 45 seconds off my previous one, and it was at that point I thought, oh, maybe I could go sub 20, but I'd wondered that before. It's been a long time goal, but yeah, it's taken me nearly 2 years to actually do it. I still can't believe it. I think I've said that about 10 times. So sub 20 took me a long time, and I think one of the main reasons why it came together at the moment is because I'm actually focusing on the ultra in a few weeks, so it really took the pressure off for me that I wasn't just, it was kind of like all out for this and I had to do it. It just worked out that I could slot it in. I'd done a solid block of speed training after my first 5K time trial, but the pressure wasn't on it, so for me that was good. So a key takeaway is that, you know, I thought sub 20 I'd feel like a super athlete, but I don't. And looking at the clips, you know, I actually used to hate watching myself run, and still don't love it, but do you know what? I can run pretty well. So I'm now in the mindset where it doesn't matter what I look like, I can achieve things that I never thought possible. So my body's doing pretty well, and I'm not going to stress over how I look on the video or in photos. I'm just going to be proud of what my body can do. That's a big achievement for me. I'm going to carry on with my run. I know you're here to find out about the training and the other things I did to make it happen, and especially the work I did on my mindset for racing. So I'm gonna cast you back to that and I'll get this finished.
How was your run?
Lovely.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Good, I'm glad. So now you've done the introduction, we've talked about that. We're going to talk about the training that you actually went through over the last training block and beyond, and why we think that that played a big part in you getting the sub 20-minute 5K. So why don't you say in your own words?
When I did the first 5k time trial, I'd done 4 half marathons at that point this year. But between that and my new attempt, I'd run another 6. So I'd got lots more base sessions in.
Just more
lots
consistency.
More
6 more half marathons, 1 a week.
Yeah. And I was just hitting consistency is the word, I think, in all my sessions. So getting everything done.
Okay, so what about the particular sessions that I set out for you in the blocks? And by the way, I'm going to put a link. If we've made a video about any of the sessions, I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this video so you can click on it and watch.
I was pretty much doing a speed session on a Tuesday, give or take, and tempo session on a Thursday, and all my other runs were just base miles. So only really pushing the speed twice a week. And every session, what I think is key is that every session was different, and things like the kilometre repeats stand out because that gave me the confidence that I could run at the pace needed. But I think it was good that I wasn't doing that session every single week, because I would have ended up getting competitive and frustrated when I wasn't hitting the best times.
Yeah, because you can't hit those kilometre times every week. You'll have up weeks and down weeks. And I think if you would have run a 3:51 one week and then you were running 3:59s the next week, you would have beaten yourself up again and thought, I'm getting slower.
That still would have been great.
Yeah.
But I actually only did that session one time. That was a kind of mindset shifting session for me, but I only did it once.
Yeah.
Things like the hill repeats I did once, but it really added some of that grit and strength that you need.
What about the tempos on a Thursday?
The tempos were really good, and I realised what you were doing with those, which is just to get me comfortable with being uncomfortable. But I did like the over-under tempos, I did heart rate tempos, and that just gave me more confidence to be uncomfortable for a longer period of time. So the tempo session would be 20 or 30 minutes, but they were really good, and I was terrified of those before, and
Because they used to be consistent. It used to be 30 minutes at tempo, which is quite a long time when you're trying to run a sub 20 minute 5k.
Yeah.
So we played around with the actual tempo theory and started to do some tempo intervals. All of that, again, linked.
Yeah, but I think the key with my training is the variety that I had. So I stopped comparing sessions, and I was just kind of dealing with each one in itself and trying to do my best in each one session, and it kind of took away that competitiveness with myself, and I just enjoyed it and enjoyed the variety. Yeah, it's great.
So let's talk about some of the other things around it. Just really quickly, I kept Mary on a program of some Pilates and some yoga. I kept her on some resistance band work, some smaller 10-minute workouts that we do in the evening to target core muscles, glutes, hips, things like that. But also we created a 10-minute morning routine that you do every morning, which is just a quick fire work around the body, quite core based.
It's mainly a core strength session, but I noticed a difference with that, and it's 10 minutes each morning, so it's not a huge outlay of your time or effort, but I noticed that I was feeling stronger. And on the morning of my 5k on Saturday, I did a yoga session and I felt totally in control of my body. It was the best session I'd done, and I think that was the core strength paying off. And if you've got time to do something like that before a time trial, it just got me in sync with my body and I felt strong and controlled, which was really good.
So that's the training. That's how we achieved it with the training, but we still need to talk about the on the day and the things that are kind of the tangibles like kit and all that, and your mental approach. But we do need to walk Winnie, right?
We do.
Let's walk Winnie. Alright, we're walking Winnie now. We've come to, actually you may have seen us run at this place before, but this is Haysden Country Park, and this is the point where we thought we would talk about not just the training, but everything other than the training that Mary think contributed to the sub 20 minute 5k. So more things like equipment, location, and all of those types of things.
I guess all of the external factors, like
Yeah,
resources,
maybe.
equipment, facilities.
Let's call it external factors. I mean, actually, your first 5k wasn't far off of this kind of a surface, was it?
Yeah. Quite similar.
Yeah, it was like it was just track, and it was lumpy and bumpy, and I say track, not running track, it was just trail track.
Yeah.
So really that was difference number one, wasn't it? And the biggest difference maybe, because when you're on a track, you're not got to worry about footing, you're not got to worry about elevation, it was just
Oh, it
track.
was just so nice. You could really focus on just keeping your pace and your running smooth. There was nothing to like disrupt or distract you in terms of your footing.
So there was the big change number one. Change number two.
Point two is trainers. And yeah, I wore my Alpha Flies, which is always a treat.
What did you wear in your previous 5k attempt?
I wore my Hoka Clifton 7s, which I really like, but they're just not as speedy.
Yeah, they're a great shoe,
Yeah.
but you're talking about the difference between what, a £120 trainer and a £260 trainer, and there has to be a difference in terms of what it gives back to you for that price, right?
Yeah, I mean the Alpha Flies just propel you forwards.
And I think probably the other most important factor would have been the weather. And if you remember, if you go back to when Mary did her original 5k, it was a really bad day, really windy, really cold, and you know, it just wasn't maybe the right day for it.
Yeah, it felt like a battle, the whole thing, and I think the weather was a big part of that.
So I know, I mean, you know, we're British, the weather it could be 4 seasons in one day, so you're not going to nail it, and even a few days out, you're not going to nail it, but go for the kind of, we picked a day that looked like it was going to be reasonably nice with low winds, and the next day was actually better, wasn't it? But
yeah, the wind was still up a bit, but it wasn't as bad as it was the first time.
well, so what we're saying really is flexibility in the day that you do it. Go for a good weather day if at all possible.
Yeah.
If it's too hot, you're going to overheat on a 5k effort. So actually, I'd err on the side of slightly cold and low wind rather than too hot.
I mean, my Saturday wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. And you know what sitting in a car means? When we talk about things, when we chat about stuff in a car, it means car chat. I went for a quick punchy one this time.
Good.
I wonder.
I think that was a good idea.
We thought in this last segment, in the car chat segment, we've got a special guest, by the way.
That's what
Is that
I
what
was
you were
gonna
about to say? Special guest, come here. Look, can you just see her poking out?
Very camera shy.
She doesn't understand what's happening or why we're not letting her out of the car, but we're going to talk about Mary's mental approach, the things that made the difference with you mentally when you were running before and during. So I felt your approach for this one was different.
Yeah, I actually felt really, really calm on the day, and I think I had taken the pressure off it, which is really good for me because I get very wrapped up in kind of doing things a particular way, so I just kind of let everything go.
How did you do that though? I noticed it was very noticeable that you were more relaxed before, but I don't know how you managed to do that for yourself.
Okay, so I think I got more relaxed because of two main things. One was that I knew I'd done loads of training and was running well, so
You'd been consistent.
Yeah, I kind of knew I was ready, so that was good. I think before I'm panicky when I feel like it's out of my comfort zone way far. So it was basically having put in the work and feeling like I was ready. And also I just thought, it doesn't really matter. Like, I was so disappointed last time, and what's the point in that? You know, all I can do is go out and run my best, and that's all I can do. So it actually doesn't matter what the outcome is.
And then how you approached it during race. I mean, you had a good start, which always helps for you because it tends to be you get on your own back when it goes wrong at the start, right?
Yeah, I had a good start, but I just decided to break it down and focus on each lap and each kilometre. I mean, really, I was just focusing on the kilometres, and I could see I was at 3:55, so, and each kilometre split was coming in, and then I'd think, okay, that's done, here's a fresh one.
And you practiced in training even releasing negative thoughts if they came into your head, didn't you, in the runs leading up to it?
Yeah, I've had some difficult runs lately, to be fair, and I've been working on kind of accepting a negative thought but letting it go and just making the next bit of the run more positive. So
Great stuff.
Best mental approach to a race I've had.
Yeah,
so
well
I'm
done.
happy with that.
So coming up on the channel, actually really exciting, because this week we're going to be making a video about how Mary is training for her ultra marathon, going from 5k to ultra. Both of us have got the Headcorn half marathon, which is really exciting. We're going to go and run around London next week, because it's only 25 minutes on the train for us, and we're going to make a video about being run tourists in London. We've got loads of good stuff coming up. We've got some merch that we're creating. I mean, it's all looking up, and obviously we're fully into moving to Thailand. So if you like any of the sounds of that, then stick around, and if you don't, you know, it's nice to meet you. We'll see you next week.
Oh, and bye, and thanks to everybody that was so nice about my 5k, and like all the congratulatory messages were just awesome and helped it to sink in and helped make it really special, so thank you.
Bye from us, and bye from her.